4 years after its debut at the Geneva Motor Show, the A5 Coupe is getting its first makeover. And Audi engineers and designers have left no stone unturned. They've upgraded everything from the chassis to the onboard entertainment. All engines now have direct injection, energy recovery, and an automatic start-stop function. And A5's lines are a lot sleeker. Audi's Cesar Montada says a lot of attention was paid to precision. The contour at the front is picked up by the headlights and continues down the sides. It finishes with the taillights and, of course, the rear fender. It's a clear sign of Audi's precision.
Und hat seinen Abschluss auf den Rückleuchtern und natürlich auf den Stoßfänger. Das ist ein deutliches Signal von Präzision von Audi.
The A5 now appears flatter and wider, but the car's basic dimensions have barely changed. The new look headlights are tapered with a vastly different structure. The lower edge is wave-formed. Cesar Montada says Audi worked hard to give the car a sporty look. They slightly modified the grille and changed the alignment of the headlights and air intakes. Now all lines form a trapezoid, and the vehicle sits much wider. He says the headlights are very progressive, with new daytime lights that clearly identify the A5. The shape of the hood, the dynamism and lightness of the design are reflected in the headlights, the horizontal fog lights, and the details in the grille. Another new feature in the A5 is the electromechanical power steering. Its extra responsiveness means the driver can almost feel the road on his fingertips. The system uses no energy on straight stretches. That saves a third of a liter of fuel every 100 kilometers. Cesar Montada says Audi wanted to widen the A5 at the front and rear to make it sportier. They were also very conscious of following contours across the width of the vehicle. The paint job even covers the diffuser, which gives the A5 more substance on the street. He says Audi invested a lot of work into the new LED taillights. The extended indicators are a new design and also instantly recognizable as Audi. We tested the A5 Coupe with a 3-liter diesel engine and all-wheel drive. The 6 cylinders deliver 180 kilowatts and 500 newton-meters of torque. The all-wheel drive version comes with a 7-speed S-tronic direct shift gearbox. The A5 accelerates from 0 to 100 in just 5.8 seconds. Its top speed is electronically capped at 250 kilometers an hour. New colors and materials add to the luxury of the interior. The dashboard and controls are finished in gray, brown, or high-gloss black. A sports steering wheel is also an optional extra. Other members of the A5 family, like the Cabriolet and the 5-door Sportback, have also enjoyed a revamp. Performance ranges from 125 to 245 kilowatts, and prices start at 34,000 euros in Germany. Taking the roof off a car is a technical challenge. Convertibles are less structurally stable than a closed vehicle. They're generally louder, heavier, more expensive, and less fuel efficient. And after all that, there's the weather. We found 3 contenders looking to buck the trend. Our test driver Martin Putz says BMW and Peugeot are old hands at open-air motoring. Now, after 9 years of being idle in this sector, the Golf Cabrio is back. It's more mature, serious, and more expensive, starting at 23,625 euros. And that's just the beginning. With a few extras and a more powerful engine, the price rapidly approaches 30,000, and that puts the Golf in the same league as BMW and Peugeot. The Peugeot 308cc is our only convertible with a hardtop. That makes it drivable in the winter months and more secure against break-ins. But the retracted roof needs extra space, and that means design concessions. Our first test is opening and closing the roof. The Volkswagen wins hands down. The Peugeot is the slowest when stationary. And moving, it's restricted to a maximum 12 kilometers an hour. By contrast, the BMW can close the roof at 40 kilometers an hour. The Peugeot comes with a 1.6-liter turbo engine delivering 115 kilowatts. That takes it from 0 to 100 in 9.6 seconds, with a maximum 215 kilometers an hour. Test driver Martin Putz says the Peugeot has 3 major strengths. It's comfortable, as expected from a French-made car. It's solid, the chassis doesn't shake or groan when traveling over rough roads. And it has a fantastic engine. The 1.6-liter turbo purrs, even at high revolutions. It's powerful and very quiet. The engine was developed with BMW, but ironically, BMW itself doesn't have it. The Peugeot 308cc also excels in our wind test. Our measurements in the front and back show little turbulence. At a speed of 50 kilometers an hour, Martin Putz is registering winds of only 3.7 in the cockpit. With a side wind, it goes up to 5.8. That's so minimal, it almost runs counter to the convertible experience. The front seats are positioned close under the windshield, which doesn't fit the character of an open vehicle. It's another story at the back with winds of 15.4 kilometers an hour.
Das sieht doch schon deutlich luftiger aus, 15,4 km/h.
The 308cc has an elegant interior, but the wide instruments can be difficult to read, and the headrests are too short for tall drivers. The Peugeot is the largest of our test vehicles, but the angled roof makes for cramped seating in the back. Prices start at 28,950 euros, which includes air conditioning, a sound system, cruise control, and parking assistance. But even with all that, it has the worst resale value. The BMW 1 Series has a soft top and cuts a dashing figure. From the side, its lines are clean and well proportioned, a clear member of the premium class. Under the hood, the 1 Series packs a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, which delivers 105 kilowatts. That gives the BMW a top speed of 210 kilometers an hour and takes from 0 to 100 in 9.3 seconds. Martin Putz explains that the BMW 1 Series is the only vehicle with a rear-wheel drive in our test. The engine only has a 143 horsepower suction motor, without the turbo of the other 2 cars. The Peugeot's 1.6-liter turbo, developed with BMW, won't feature in the 1 Series until the next generation. That limits the driving enjoyment. Otherwise, Martin Putz likes the steering, which is direct and precise. The transmission is crisp, as expected in a BMW, and there's a big convertible experience with plenty of wind in the cockpit. Our tests show the BMW with slightly more cockpit wind than the Peugeot. At 50 kilometers an hour, Martin Putz is seeing winds of 9 kilometers an hour. That gives passengers the cabrio feeling, but not too much. In the back, the wind is 19.4 kilometers an hour.
19,4, naja, ist ja schon etwas mehr.
The BMW's cockpit puts driving first, with a comfortable steering wheel and ergonomic controls. But if you want air conditioning, that's €980 extra. Space is at a premium, but there's still more headroom than the 308cc. The 1 Series was our most expensive test car, costing €30,500. But that did include power steering and 17-inch wheels. And the BMW's resale value puts it ahead of the Peugeot. The Golf is the wild card in this comparison. Volkswagen's latest offering is taking a run at the class barrier, hoping to join Peugeot and BMW on the other side. Volkswagen has opted for a soft top, which is a big plus for its overall design. And unlike its competitors, the Golf has a separate 250-liter trunk, whether the roof is closed or not. The only downside is the tiny hatch. Up front, the Golf is packing a 1.4-liter 4-cylinder forced induction engine. Its 118 kilowatts produces top speeds of 216 kilometers an hour, and it goes from standing to 100 in 8.4 seconds. Martin Putz says the Golf Cabriolet drives like a Golf, and he means that as a compliment. The good handling and motor response makes for a comfortable ride. The car's soundproofing is also excellent, though not as good as the closed models. But even with the roof down, the Golf is very quiet for a convertible. But the wind test produces mixed results. The wind is strongest in the Golf cockpit. But isn't that what open-air driving is all about? Martin Putz says the wind feels quite strong, blowing at 7 kilometers an hour, but he likes it. After all, it's a convertible and not a closed car. Now the wind speed is 12.1 kilometers an hour, making it the windiest of the 3 test cars. In the back seats, it even hits 24 kilometers an hour. But for Martin Putz, that's a real convertible. Inside, the Golf is surprisingly spacious compared to the BMW and Peugeot. The legroom is almost as ample as the closed-top version. The prices start at €23,625, but our test car included a dual-clutch transmission and 17-inch wheels. That bumps the Golf up to €28,770, putting it almost on a par with the competition. It's not a cheap option, but there's little to dislike about the Volkswagen. We think it's the best package overall. The Peugeot 308cc had a great turbo engine, loads of features, and a hardtop. Even so, Martin Putz still ranks it third in our test because of its poor resale value. After a few years, it's not going to fetch nearly as much as the 1 Series. The BMW is the sporty alternative. The engine isn't the most powerful, but it's certainly the most dynamic. The Golf is our test winner. It's the perfect all-rounder without any major weaknesses. Feature-wise, it matches the closed cockpit version with the advantages of a retracting roof.
Nur eben mit der Option des Offenfahrens. So wünscht man sich einen Begleiter für jeden Tag und für den Sommer.
The Golf is a persuasive multi-talent, something the competition is sure to take notice of. Five years after the debut of the Continental GTC, Bentley has unveiled the second generation. The English car maker is taking orders for delivery in December at the earliest. Bentley has redesigned most components and is now offering almost unlimited customization of the interior. The GTC's new engine packs a whopping 423 kilowatts and rockets from standing to 100 in 4.8 seconds. But all that comes at a price. German customers will have to slap down more than €200,000. Toyota is presenting the third generation of its Yaris model. The subcompact boasts more interior space and increased fuel efficiency. It comes with a choice of 3 engines, 2 gas-powered and 1 diesel, which generate between 51 and 77 kilowatts of power. The car's chassis and shocks have been specially tuned for the European market. The Yaris has a starting price of just over 11,500 euros in Germany, and as of next spring, will be available in a hybrid version. It's always a major event when a new generation of long-haul trucks appears, as they usually take much longer to develop than cars. Mercedes laid the groundwork for its new generation Actros a decade ago. It took 5 years to develop the components and then test the vehicle for series production. Over 700,000 units of the previous model were sold around the world. To reproduce this global success story, Mercedes pays attention to regional differences during the development phase.
The markets all have different emissions norms, which proves challenging, says Georg Freiberg from Mercedes. For example, European countries have the Euro 6, which becomes an emissions requirement from 2014. For that, they must install special equipment in the vehicle, he notes. Some markets outside Europe have poor quality fuels with a high sulfur content, so they need to make allowances for that. And then there are countries whose tougher road conditions place increased demands on a vehicle's strength and stability. But he says they've more or less covered all that during testing. As part of the test, the new Actros racked up some 20 million kilometers on the roads and put in 3,000 hours in a wind tunnel. The track, with the sinus curves and washboard pavement, simulates poor road conditions. They jostle both truck and driver around, putting lots of pressure on the chassis. But the Actros is up to the job and suffers no loss of stability. With a truck that's over 2.5 meters wide and 16.5 meters long, safety plays a major role. The Actros boasts numerous assistance systems familiar to drivers of passenger cars, as the man from Mercedes explains. Georg Freiberg says Mercedes took all the previous safety features and brought them up to the latest standards, like active brake, known as Distronic in cars. In principle, Mercedes put all the features of today's cars into the truck. He mentions the lane departure warning, which produces a warning sound when the vehicle touches the line. Mercedes greatly improved the dynamics of the chassis, making the steering more precise and fine-tuning the springs and dampers. At the same time, Mercedes wanted to maintain vehicle safety and driving comfort. It's a big truck and needs to maneuver precisely on narrow country roads, at highway crossings, and construction sites. The colossal vehicle demonstrates its impressive maneuverability on the slalom course. In spite of the quick changes of direction, the tractor-trailer stays in its lane. The Actros' completely new interior provides more creature comforts. Its materials are more pleasant to the touch and make drivers feel at home. The new model features more storage compartments and a clearer separation between work and living areas. With its new 12.8-liter straight-six engine, the Actros is among the most fuel-efficient trucks in its class. Its 350 kilowatts of power and 2,300 newton-meters of torque give the motor pulling power to spare. At a truck stop along the Autobahn, we meet long-haul trucker Klaus Gelbe. What does he make of the new Actros? He's happy to take a peek at the cockpit and give us his first impressions.
He found it very convincing, as the vehicle is much roomier. He likes the storage compartments and that everything's easy to read. He especially likes this new adjustable steering wheel, which can be brought towards the driver and is easy to adjust. The instruments are also wonderful, he says. It feels almost like a car. The seat is excellent and roomy enough even for drivers with big feet like his. He feels it will make for pleasant driving. The Actros now boasts the multifunction steering wheel first developed for use in cars. Drivers can use it to operate the Fleetboard management service, which tracks fuel consumption, mileage, and vehicle maintenance. The new Fleetboard Eco Support analyzes the trucker's driving and provides direct feedback on his or her driving style. Klaus Gelbe thinks that's a good thing, from the fuel consumption standpoint alone. The Fleetboard Vehicle Management Service helps drivers use 5 to 15% less fuel, and given the distances many of these trucks travel, that adds up to quite a bit. After all, the Actros' new engines are supposed to be able to go for at least 1.2 million kilometers without needing a major overhaul.